Listen, church, God never asked you to approve His plans. He asked you to trust His heart. Trust His heart. Have you ever looked on this world, at this world, and just wondered, God, where are you? Have you ever asked that question? Especially now when you turn on the news, you see more violence. You see another war after war, more corruptions going around this world. Or maybe you scroll through your Facebook feeds or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, wherever you're checking, and you see more divisions and you see more heartbreaks and injustice, or people tearing each other up, or maybe making it more personal. Maybe in your own life, when you look in your own life, you see more unanswered prayers. You see sicknesses all around, or maybe loss happening in your life, or broken relationship, brokenness, and deep down, you have whispered what you were afraid to ask the Lord is this: God, are you even paying attention? Are you even paying attention? It's a very hard question and very unique question to ask. But church, have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt that in your own journey or in your own life? Because I want to say this: you're not alone today. If you ever felt this way, if you ever felt unanswered prayers, if you ever felt brokenness and feeling rejected and alone, let me tell you, you're not alone. When we learn about Habakkuk, and we can know that you're not alone, that I'm not alone. We are in good company, because here this prophet Habakkuk felt the same. And before we learn more about Habakkuk, I wanna give us a background of what this book is all about. So Habakkuk is one of the 12 minor prophets in the Bible. But the term minor has nothing to do with the importance of the message. All right. We just call minor prophet and major prophets because of their length. This minor prophet Habakkuk is only 3 chapters, and there is other 11 minor prophets that contains just a few chapters. So that's why it's called minor prophets. And the name Habakkuk is rather unusual Hebrew name, which can either mean one who wrestles or one who embraces. And when we learn this book, we can see these both meanings are really important in this name and through this name. So this prophet Habakkuk is not a prophet calling down fire from heaven. This prophet is not like Elijah on the Mount Carmel. This prophet Habakkuk is a prophet who's looking at this world and looking around what is happening around this world, and pausing and saying and crying out to God, Lord God, how long, Jesus? How long can this happen? And he's mad and he's frustrated when looking at this, at what is happening in this land. And personally, sometimes we can be that way, right? When we look around this world, around what's happening around our surroundings, we can say, God, what is happening? What is happening in this world? God, why are you not doing anything? Why are you not coming through with the breakthroughs? Why are you not answering my prayers? And Habakkuk is feeling the same, because this land was full of violence. And we find when we read and study through this book, we find very few righteous people living in this world, in this land. The law was twisted, the wicked were winning, and he couldn't understand. Really, he couldn't just understand why God was not doing anything about this, and why God was silent, why God is keeping silent even when all this violence was happening around. And that's what we will be going through in this book of Habakkuk. But the book of Habakkuk is different from all the other prophetic books, because one of the things that prophets did during that time was speak on behalf of God to the people. But Habakkuk was different. Habakkuk speaks to God about the people. So there's a difference. The rest, all the prophetic books, they spoke to the people on behalf of God. Only this book, Habakkuk, speaks to God about the people. And he does not just give the message, he starts with a conversation, and that too a hard one. So today I want to talk on this subject called when God's answers hurt. When God's answers hurt. So here again, when we look in the book of Habakkuk, we see different themes that is being placed in this book. One where God is being silent, and one God answers his prayers, and so we'll be exploring these themes today, and see and learn what we can apply to ourselves, and what God can do through that. All right. So first of all, I want to say this: it's okay for you to bring your questions to God. All right, it's okay for you to ask questions and bring questions to God. In fact, when we learn about Habakkuk, we actually find that he starts his book with a complaint. Habakkuk goes to God because he's having trouble. He's having trouble understanding why God is doing such a thing as this, or where God is not answering him, where when he replies or when he answers that he's not pleased with his answers, and also there's a lot of violence and he's not doing anything. So there's a lot of things that has been happening in this one chapter. And I want to say again and again that it's okay for us to come to God's presence and say, ask him questions or bring your frustrations to him, because he cares for that. He really does. Some of us have been taught to don't question God. Don't question God. But Habakkuk really opens up his message with a complaint. He's basically saying, God, do you not see what's happening around me? Do you not see what's going on? There's violence everywhere. People are evil. The law is not working. Justice is broken. Everything is messed up in this world. And yet, Habakkuk comes to God with that frustration. Listen, Habakkuk here is not being rebellious. He's just being real with God. Real with God. Church, God does not need your performance. What he needs is your honesty with God. Honesty with God. Because God can handle it. God can handle your honesty. He's not scared by your questions. He's not intimidated by your doubts. He asks us to be raw, to be real, to be honest with him. Just like how what Habakkuk is feeling. He's feeling frustrated. He's feeling irritated. He's feeling angry. He's feeling all the feelings that we as human beings go through. And yet he's not pulling away from God, but he's bringing He's bringing that to God. And here's the thing that some of us does. Some of us have learned how to fake healing when we are bleeding inside. Some of us walk into the church smiling, but deep inside of us, we are screaming out. Some of us lift up our both hands during worship, but your heart's heavy and burdened. And here's the danger, church. Here's the danger. We see one of the people in the Bible who did the same thing, and his name is Judas. Judas walked with Christ, learned everything with him. He walked with him, he sat down, he had food with him, he learned ministry with him, and yet one of the things that he never did was Judas was never real with Jesus. Judas was never real with Jesus, and I wonder if Judas had just been honest with Jesus and say, God, Jesus, I'm struggling. If I'm just wondering this, it's not in the Bible, but I'm just picturing this. If Judas had just be real with God, with Jesus about his struggles, he wouldn't have been ended up in the situation where he was. And his story that we read in the Bible would have been different. I'm just saying it because he was not real. Even though he walked with Jesus, even though he ate food and did all the things, he was not real with God. He was not real with Jesus. And the danger is this. The danger is not just failing or falling. The danger is in pretending you're not. Just like Judas. We gotta be real, church. We gotta be real. We gotta be real with our struggles. We gotta be real with our pains. We gotta be real with what is happening in our own life, so that God can take those pains and take those struggles and come and give us a brand new life or a breakthrough in our lives. So today, this morning, I want to say, stop hiding your pain in the praise language, and come to God real and be honest and bring it to God. All your frustrations, all your complaints, all your worries, all your sorrows, all your pains, bring it to God so that He can take care of it. Don't hide. Don't hide. Stop hiding. Stop faking. Stop saying everything is all right when your heart is burdened. Stop saying you're okay when your life is bleeding out. Seek help from God. Seek help from people that has been doing life with Jesus, because God cares for you. God loves you so much that He does not want you going this way. God wants to take a hold of you and bring you brand new life. The second thing that we learn when we learn about this chapter or go through in this chapter 1 of Habakkuk is this: God is working even in the silence. God is working even in the silence. When we read through this chapter 1, we see the frustrations of Habakkuk when God is silent. Habakkuk had been crying out, desperate for God to act. God, where are you? How long can I cry? How long should I be silent? But all Habakkuk heard was silence. Habakkuk is feeling it. He's feeling the frustrations. And it feels like nothing was happening. It feels like nothing was happening. But in reality, God was already at work behind the scenes. Listen, church. Sometimes God's silence is not His absence. That's His strategy. That's His strategy. And we get frustrated, right? We get frustrated in the silence. Why God is not doing it? Where are you? Why is he not answering me? And sometimes, sometimes the best thing that God can do is put us in a place of silence so that we can rest in His presence. We can rely on His presence more than our own understanding. And here, God was not ignoring Habakkuk's pain. He's not ignoring what he's going through. He was preparing a plan in that pain. And I want to say this to you, God. Maybe you are sitting right in this church today, maybe going through some of the pains, or maybe you're questioning God, or maybe some of you are feeling that frustration with God and thinking, where is He? I want to say, even in the silence, God is working out for your good. A few months ago, maybe exactly 2 months ago, me and my family went through something similar. We were put in this thing called silent treatment, where God was silent in our life. When we were going through this, maybe most of you in this church knows what we went through with our visa situations, with our things through the immigration, and listen, we struggled. We struggled when we thought God was moving. At least we were thinking God was moving. It was fast paced. Sometimes it's silent. We felt God was not doing anything. And towards the end of it, things started moving and things started picking up real quick. The Senate members started getting involved in our case, and we were like hoping that God is going to bring the breakthrough that we needed, that we were hoping for. And we were getting excited. We were happy. We were seeing God's hand upon this matter with our immigration, and we were so excited. And listen, later on, we found out we still needed to leave the United States, and we didn't know when we were going to come back, or even now, we don't know when we were coming back. But listen, even then we struggled. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I struggled in the sense of why God was putting us through this. I couldn't understand why God was silent. I couldn't understand why, after all this, almost a decade of living there, why God was asking us to transition from there to India. We couldn't understand, and till last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, God confirmed to me and my family that this is the will of God. This is the God's planning, and we just had to trust in that process. Listen, when a seed is planted in the ground, nothing seems to be happening. Nobody sees what happens underneath or underneath that soil. But if months pass by, years pass by, you see life transforming. That seed changes its course. Even in the dark, even in the hidden places, life is forming. Roots are growing and foundations are set. I want to speak this over some of you today. Maybe you feel like nothing is happening in your life. Maybe you feel that you're overlooked. Maybe you feel like God is silent and God is not doing anything in your life. Let me tell you, the seed, just like the seed, is not seen underneath that the life transforming. God is transforming something deeper within your soul, within your life, within your heart, that you don't even see it yet. But let me tell you, if you can, just don't quit. Just don't give up and say, God, I will still lean on your own understanding, not my own. And lean on His understanding and not quit, and just trust His process. God is still faithful because God is doing more in your waiting than you could do in your rushing. All right, some of you needs to hear that God is doing more in your waiting than you could do in your rushing. All right, so trust Him in the process. Lean on God's understanding rather than your own. The third thing that I want to share this morning is, even when evil seems to win, remember who is still on the throne. Remember, even when injustice happens, even when things don't go our way, remember, God is still on the throne. When we read verse 12 and 13, it reads like this: O Lord, my God, my Holy One, you who are eternal, surely you did not plan to wipe us out. O Lord, my rock, you have sent these Babylonians to correct us, to punish us for many sins. Listen, finally here Habakkuk hears from God. Habakkuk hears what God plans to do. And it really wrecks him. It really breaks him. He's like, wait, God, what exactly are you doing here? You're raising up Babylonians. You're going to use the Babylonians, the evil, wicked people, to bring justice. It does not make sense. It does not make sense that you're doing this, God. And sometimes God allows what He hates to accomplish what He loves. Sometimes it's God's ways are mysteries we do not understand. And the purest and the simplest example is found in the Bible, the crucifixion. God, the cross was the clearest example. God used the cross, the crucifixion. It was the most horrific death that someone could ever have in the human history, crucifixion. But yet God chose that to bring salvation through Jesus. And that's what He does. And here's the real tension. Here's the real tension. We want to trust God. We want to believe everything that God has for us, but we also want to control God. We say, God, we trust you, we trust your plans, but we also give Him a script. We tell Him, God, fix it by Friday or fix it by Monday. God, make it painless. God, don't let me cry too long. God, don't take it too long to bring my promotion. God, I cannot handle this, so make it easier. Make my life easier. Even though in our heart we trust Him, even though our words speaks like that, deep down in our life, deep down in our soul, that we also give Him scripts for God to follow. Listen, church, God never asked you to approve His plans. He asked you to trust His heart. Trust His heart. He never asked of us whether we approve His plans, whether we give thumbs up for everything that He is asking. No. All He needs, all He asks of us is our heart to follow Him. He says, come follow me. Leave everything. Leave everything. Come follow me. Here's the thing. When we learn about this chapter in Habakkuk, we carry a weight when God is silent, right? When God is silent, we are frustrated, asking what is happening, why God is not answering. But here's another side of the weight that we also carry, that when God speaks, there's a weight that we carry. That God, Why did you even respond this way? Habakkuk is going through the same thing. When God was silent, he's frustrated. But also when God responds, he's frustrated again because that was not the answer that he was expecting. Same way when God responds to us finally, but that was not the response that we expected. I want to ask this, are you frustrated? Or are you okay with what God is asking us? Right? It's a big question. It's a very important question that we need to ask this morning. God, is my heart where you want it to be? Am I wrestling with the thought that you're asking something of me, but I'm not happy, I'm not content of your response? We find in the Bible, Jonah, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh to preach the gospel. But most of you know that Jonah ran away from that. Jonah ran away thinking that those people in Nineveh never deserved mercy. Listen, the problem is not always when God is silent. It's sometimes the problem is when God speaks and we don't agree to it. Jonah didn't agree. Jonah didn't agree what God asked him to do, and he just ran away. Sometimes we run away from God, not because of God's silent treatment, not because He's silent in our prayers, in our thought processes. Not because of that. We run away sometimes. We run away from churches. We explore different churches. We go to church after church after church after different churches. Some people quit faith completely, not because God is silent, because God spoke to them, and that was not the answer they were expecting. Church, faith is not about understanding everything. It's not understanding everything. It's about trusting even when you don't understand Him. Trusting God even when you don't understand. Both Jonah and Habakkuk remind us one thing. God's plans may confuse us. God's plans may challenge us. God's plan even sometimes offends us, but they are still good. They're still good. And our job and our requirement is not to control this outcome, but to trust and obey God no matter what the outcome is. Church, I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you with all my heart. I want to encourage you today. Trust Him. Even when God is silent, even when God is asking you to take a step of faith and do something, and maybe probably you're not comfortable doing it, or maybe you don't know how to do it, and maybe you don't have any knowledge of how to even go forward. If God asks something of you, just trust Him, because He will give you the resources. He will give you and He will equip you to do things if He asks something of you. We need to trust Him and obey Him. And last thing I want to share this is faith sometimes can feel like a fight. Faith sometimes can feel like fight. Here again, when we read through this first chapter, Habakkuk does not get every answer that he asked from God. But we also interestingly find that he does not walk away from God either. This is where I want to go into the next chapter, chapter 2, verse 1. It reads like this. Habakkuk says, I will stand at my watch. I will stand at my watch. Meaning, in some translation, it says, I will wait on the Lord. I'll wait on the Lord. Sometimes the most spiritual thing that you can do is wait. Stand still and wait. Stand still and wait. And especially now in this present generation, waiting is the hardest thing that people find. Even most of us find it very hard to wait, be still in the presence. I would say this, I want to encourage you, pray and wait. Cry in the presence and wait. Fight in the presence of God and wait. And wrestle in the presence of God and wait, because when God starts doing things in your life, there's no more waiting. He will start doing it. When He starts bringing the breakthroughs, there's no more waiting, because you have already done the waiting. Now it's the time for God to move in your life. And I want to encourage you. Maybe you are still in the period of waiting. Maybe you're still in the process of asking God, it's been 12 years, it's been 1 year, it's been a few months. God, where is it? I don't see the answers. I want to encourage you, wait. Keep on crying. Keep on fighting. Keep on wrestling with God, because He will bring the breakthrough. Sometimes faith is not the absence of struggle. It's a presence of endurance. You gotta endure it. You gotta endure it. You gotta press through. You gotta lean through it, because that's something that God requires of us. Sometimes faith feels like a fight, and most of you know my story. Most of you know my story, how I was born mute. I couldn't speak a word. I couldn't even utter a word when I was born. And I don't want to share a lot about my story that I've already shared. But I've seen my parents fight through it. I've seen my parents wait. I've seen my parents wait for the breakthrough. I've seen my parents fight and wrestle for my healing. I've seen my parents wait through the tears and tensions. And yet, I've seen the fight of faith that they have produced. And let me tell you, church, the result is me speaking to you this morning. Me sharing the word of God to you this morning. And this is what faith looks like. Maybe it looks like fight for you right now. Maybe the faith that God is requiring for you this morning looks like this. It looks like a fight. But let me encourage you, just like my parents, that I saw them. Even in my own life, I've seen I had to wait and fight through this faith. I had to wait and fight through the tensions and tears and pains and sorrows. It's not easy. Faith is not cute. Faith is not sometimes Facebook worthy. It's not Instagram worthy. Faith is a fight sometimes. And God calls us to that, because He does not just require us to just do a normal life and say, life is okay. Life is all about fun. I'm not against any fun, by the way. I like to have fun, but God calls us and requires us to put some faith in trusting Him, in believing Him. Because if you can hold on, if you can trust in the tension, God will reveal what He was doing all along. Listen, Habakkuk here, he's fighting. He's frustrated. He's fighting through the tension. He's crying out for this generation, his generation. Injustice is crying out. But even in those crying, he's waiting patiently. He's saying, I will wait on the Lord. I will patiently wait. I will stand and wait. And I want to encourage some of you this morning. Are you willing to wait in the presence of God? Are you willing to stand firm and wait in the presence of God? Because if you can just press on and wait and say, God, I'm going to trust in your timing. I'm going to trust you no matter what the outcome is. I'm going to trust you. Listen, church, God will come through for you. And I want to conclude by asking this question. What happens, right? What happens when God's answers hurt? What happens? What happens that when God's answers confuse you? What happens when God's answers challenges you? What happens when God's answers breaks you? You need to trust His heart even when you cannot trace His hand. Because here's the truth, church. God's answers may break your heart. God's answers may confuse you. God's answers may offend you. But they will never break His promises. God will never break His promises. God will never break His covenant with us. Whatever promises He has for you, it's yes and amen. He will bring those promises to pass. You might not understand what He's doing. You might not like how He's doing things, but He is still a good God. He's still sovereign. He's still worthy of trust. And if you're standing in the middle of the situations, if you're standing in the middle of a painful answer, I want to encourage you. Don't stop praying. Don't stop seeking after God's heart. Don't walk away. Please, church, don't walk away, because when the answers hurt, God is still healing something deeper in your life. God is still doing something in your life if you let Him do it. I want to invite the band to come forward and the prayer team to come forward as well. And as they're going to sing and worship Jesus, I want to open this altar to you this morning. I want everyone who says that you've been struggling with this. You've been struggling with this thought of or questioning God, just like Habakkuk. You're complaining or you're frustrated in your life. You're seeking God for help and you're seeking God for answers, and you're all you get is silent and you're frustrated. Let me tell you, it's okay. It's okay for you to do it. But I want to invite you to come forward. This amazing prayer team is there here. This pastoral staff is here to pray with you, pray for you. Or maybe you say you don't understand God. You're confused. You don't understand why God is responding this way. You don't understand why God is doing this or not providing for you in the way that you wanted. Or maybe you're angry that God did not respond the way that you wanted, just like Habakkuk here. Let me tell you, I want to encourage you to come, take a step of faith today. Take a step of faith to come forward and seek after God's heart this morning. And this is my prayer, that this morning, as you take a step forward and come and lay this down, that God is going to take off the confusion. God is going to take off that pain, that unanswered prayers, and bring you clarity, and bring you something unique in your life that you had never experienced. And I want to invite you to this altar. Really, I want to invite you to come into this altar at every location that is watching. I want us to take a step of faith. Be real. Be honest with God. Bring your struggles, bring your pains, bring your sorrows. Just like Habakkuk, how he's being real with God. I want us to bring your honesty, bring your realness, bring your struggles and pains, so that God can heal your heart. Again, God does not require your performance. God requires your honesty this morning.